Who is going to be finishing in the top 5 this season for next season's Champions League places? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Today's video is going to center around that very question being asked today. We're going to be looking at the teams in contendership for the top 5 this season, and of course, as a reward, obtaining Champions League places for next season. Now, of course, Arsenal and Manchester City are pretty much there. No one is seemingly contesting those places. But there are still 3 more places up for grabs. 3rd, right the way through till 5th. And I personally believe that there are currently 6 teams jostling for those 3 positions, which means half the teams that we're going to be talking about and looking at the fixtures from now until the end of the season with are going to miss out. We're going to be looking at the 6 teams that I have chosen. We're going to be looking at the fixtures that are to come, and I'm going to be trying to predict what will be the outcome of this season's top 5 race. Before we go any further, though, in discussing all of that and much more, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you are new. Both things are always and probably greatly appreciated. And I also encourage each and every single one of you to get involved in the comment section down below. Use and abuse that section, people, and talk to me on this topic of discussion. I'm sure you have your own thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it. That will make for great and interesting reading on who you believe will get the top 5 places for this season. So please do get involved. And like I say, I'm sure they'll make for great and interesting reading. And without further ado, we're going to get on with the conversation ourselves. We're talking the top 5 race in the English Premier League. Look, I think I would love to sit here and say that Liverpool get it. My team, my club that I support, the team I love and adore, and also the team that infuriates me so much at times. I would love to say that they are going to be getting top 5 this season. I'd love to say that they're going to win all of their remaining games, but unfortunately, I simply can't. Instead, what I've done is that I've drew up all of the games that are remaining for the 6 teams that I have put in contendership for the top 5. Like I say, I'm not doing Arsenal and Man City. That is a separate topic about the title race because they are pretty much secured in the top 5 picture. So there are 3 places up for grabs, and I think there are 6 teams jostling for those 3 remaining positions. Although in saying that, I think 3rd place Man United, although it's not confirmed, are going to be there for next year. So here's what I've designed. This is my spreadsheet, homemade. Not very great, not the best. I'll explain the bottom bit in a second. But as you can see, there is Manchester United here, there is Villa here, Liverpool, Chelsea, Brentford, and Everton. Those are the 6 teams that are, in my opinion, in contendership for the top 5 places and for Champions League football next season, going from left to right in the order that they currently stand in the Premier League. Their current total is marked by CT. That's current total. Man United currently have 55 points, 54 points for Villa, 49 for Liverpool, 48 for Chelsea, and 46 for both Brentford and Everton. Now, automatically, you might be thinking that Brentford and Everton might be a bit of a long shot, especially because they're not expected to be there. Well, I decided to include them anyway because I don't believe that they are outsiders. I think they are firmly in the race for that top 5 spot. And if you actually have a look over the fixtures that both teams have got coming up, they are pretty favourable to get some big points between now and the end of the season. Like I say, we'll start with Man United. Man United, I think, are there already. I think they are in the top 5 already. I think they have secured Champions League football for next season. I think barring a major catastrophe in which they lose all of their remaining games, I think they are safe and sound in the Champions League for next season. There's 7 games remaining. I've actually gone for them to be unbeaten in these. I've gone for a win against Leeds United at home, a win against Chelsea away, a draw against Brentford. As much as it pained me to say, I think they probably are going to beat Liverpool at Old Trafford as well. A draw against Sunderland, a win against Forest, and a draw against Brighton on the final day of the season. That will give them a total of 15 points from their remaining 7 games. And therefore, I think they're going to finish with a total, an end of season total, that's EOST, of 70, which will secure them Champions League football for next season. I feel like that's what we could be going down, especially with the way that Michael Carrick's taken over at the club and the way that the club have gone strength to strength this season under his management. He's actually done really, really well since taking charge. I think we could be seeing a world in which Man United are back in European football's top tier competition. Then we move on to Villa. Now, Villa's an interesting one because Villa, I'm still not entirely convinced with Villa. And partially it's because I think there could be a very good case for Villa to win the Europa League this season, which if they do decide to switch focus, may alter the results of their remaining games. I also think that with how bad the rest of the teams are, especially Liverpool and Chelsea, which we'll come on to later, their early season form could have already carried them over the finish line without us realising it yet. So I've gone for a win against Forest when we return with Premier League action next week. I've gone with draws against the likes of Sunderland and Fulham. Sunderland being at Villa Park, Fulham being at Craven Cottage. We know how awkward Sunderland can be, but I guess away from home, they are somewhat more favourable to play against than at home. And the same, well, the opposite, but the same can be said for Fulham in that regard, in terms of Fulham are much better at home than they are away, which is why I think, again, they will probably slip up in that game in terms of not getting the win. Then I've gone for wins back-to-back against the likes of Tottenham and Burnley. Spurs under new management with Roberto De Zerbi, that could be a bit of a questionable one. We'll obviously have to see how Spurs go on under their new head coach. But again, you would probably back Villa to win, especially with them being at Villa Park. Away against Burnley, Burnley could already be relegated by that point. So Burnley will be just playing for pride at that point, which should be a favourable victory for Villa. I've gone for a draw against Liverpool. Now, initially, I did think this would actually be another Villa win against my own club. I really don't have that much high regard for the rest of the season for the Reds, as we'll get onto again a little later. But my reasoning for this is that top 4, top 5 might already be set by that point for Villa. And if that is the case, and if they are still obviously in the latter stages of the Europa League, which I think will be the final by that point, that could obviously be a turning point in terms of they don't go at it full throttle. They are saving themselves for the Europa League, which might give Liverpool a bit of a chance in that game. And then if that again is the case for the final day of the season, depending on where Manchester City are in terms of the title race, you would probably expect City to win their game against Villa on the final day of the season. That would give Villa a total of 12 points in those remaining 7 games and a grand total of 66, which again would see them comfortably into the top 5 and into next season's Champions League. Now we come on to my team. This is the bit I hate. I've gone for draws against Fulham and Everton. Fulham at home at Anfield. Look, of course, I would love to say Liverpool win against Fulham at Anfield, but I'm not confident anymore. I'm not confident on these games. I'm really, really not. And Fulham are tough. We know how Fulham are tough. And I know I said that away from home, Fulham are more favourable to play than at home. But this is Liverpool we're talking about. If you've not seen how our season's gone so far, you will know that we slip up against anyone and everyone. Doesn't matter where you are in the table. And we face we probably face the toughest fixture list of the lot. Maybe barring Chelsea. But we face 7... We've got 7 remaining games, and of 6 of those remaining games, we are facing teams that are contending for European football. Palace are the exception. All the other teams are contending for some form of European football for next season. So we've got a tough run ahead of us, and we start with Fulham. Could be contending for some form of European football this season. If they get it, what a remarkable achievement by Marco Silva and his Fulham side. Again, I've gone with a draw. I'm not confident. It genuinely could go any which way. Everton away. First Merseyside derby at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. We know the Evertonians are going to be up for that one. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if we lost that game. I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if we lost that game. I hope we don't. I've gone with a draw, but it was only because I can't put Everton beating us. So that one may be a little bit of bias there. Palace home win. Now, Palace have been a very much of a bogey side for Arne Slot since he took over. And again, I'm not entirely confident with a win, but I think that maybe by that point, Europa Conference League could still be a big thing for Palace. So maybe Palace being so safe and sound somewhere around about mid-table might help tip the scales in Liverpool's favour. Then, obviously, I talked about the Manchester United game earlier. Away at Old Trafford, I've got no hope for that game whatsoever. Chelsea at home. Again, Chelsea are so awkward right now to look at. I initially put a win for Liverpool because of how bad Chelsea are right now. And then I remembered, oh, we're just as bad as them. So we're probably going to cancel each other out with how bad we are against ourselves. So I've gone with a draw there. I talked about the Liverpool-Villa game and then Brentford on the final day of the season at home at Anfield. Look, the final game, at least in the Premier League, who knows in other competitions, I doubt it, but it looks like to be the final game for Mo Salah. Love to give him a lovely send-off. I'd love it to be like he's going to get 7 goals in that game. I'd love it to be something along them lines, but we all know that this season hasn't quite panned out that way. So again, I've gone with a draw because Brentford are a difficult thorn in the side of a lot of teams. So I've gone with a draw. I've gone with a draw. I don't know. Then we move on to Chelsea. City at home. Tough. Loss. I think City riding high off of their Carabao Cup triumph, gunning down Arsenal at every opportunity. I think the bit is between the teeth of Pep Guardiola and Manchester City, and they should get the win against the Chelsea side, who right now aren't in the best of form. They're kind of feeling a bit sorry for themselves. It's the ideal opportunity, in my opinion, to be facing Chelsea. Man United versus Chelsea, we spoke about that earlier. Again, perfect time to be facing them. United to win. Brighton against Chelsea. We know how much of a thorn in the side Brighton can be for Chelsea, even though they decide to take all of their players and managers and stuff. But yes, Brighton, again, come into a good bit of form, Brighton. So probably someone not to maybe overlook in terms of the race for European football. Then a win against Forest. Look, Forest might be scrapping for points by that point, or they might be safe and sound. We don't exactly know as of right now. But even then, Chelsea should be beating Forest. And if they aren't, then massive alarm bells should be ringing. Away against Liverpool, we spoke about that. Then we got second to last game of the season at Stamford Bridge. Big London derby, Chelsea versus Tottenham. I've gone with a Chelsea win, and again, it would really depend on where Spurs are. Are they battling for points down at the bottom of the table, or are they safe and sound? And not only that, but how is Roberto De Zerbi doing at Spurs, at his new club? That is going to be interesting. But again, Chelsea are normally known for beating Spurs. If Chelsea don't beat Spurs, there's a serious problem there. Serious problem. And Sunderland away from home. I've actually gone with a loss again because Sunderland at home are very, very tough. And they'll want to round off the season on a very good note. Chelsea, we know, are awkward in these situations. Chelsea already lost to Sunderland earlier on in the season, and they were actually a lot better then than what they are now. I think Sunderland will win the game. That leaves Liverpool on a total of 57. And Chelsea on a total of 55. I've given Liverpool 8 points and I've given Chelsea 7 points. Oh dear, oh dear. I'm not convinced that these two teams are going to make it. And I'm not convinced because of what comes next with Brentford and Everton. Now, Brentford, I think the international break hit them at the right time. I think they were just losing a little bit of steam going forward. I feel like they were just faltering and stuttering a little bit in certain games. But because of how bad both Liverpool and Chelsea have been, the door is wide open for one of these two teams, if not even both, to maybe overtake and leapfrog both the Blues and the Reds in the remaining 7 games of this season. So first and foremost, Everton and Brentford take on each other. I've gone with a draw that doesn't really help either team. But again, because of how poor Liverpool and Chelsea are, neither side will lose ground on the top 5 race, because I also don't think Chelsea are going to be winning, or Liverpool are going to be beating Fulham for that matter. Then Brentford take on Fulham at home. Again, goes back to what I said about Fulham being away from home rather than at home. I think Brentford have the opportunity there to stake a claim to that top 5 spot. And I think they've got a good opportunity against Marco Silva's side. And then we talked previously about the Manchester United game against Brentford. Again, it's a very awkward game for United. It's an awkward game for United. It's an awkward game for Brentford. We know that Brentford on their day can be extremely dangerous. I think they've got a good opportunity of getting something from that. West Ham, again, another side battling relegation. Should be a win for Brentford, but you never know. Sometimes relegation can make teams turn up and go up a level in certain situations. But again, Brentford should have the quality, both defensively and in the attacking third, to get the job done. Then I feel like they will lose against Manchester City. Again, Premier League title race coming into play, where Man City will be, where Arsenal will be. Could be a major dependent factor on how City go into that game. Then against Palace, I feel like Brentford will win. Again, Palace could be an Europa Conference League final by that point, in which case they've probably got their eyes focused on that rather than on the Premier League, where they will probably be safe and sound. Then, of course, as I mentioned, Liverpool on the final day, in which I think will be a draw, potentially. I don't know. Anyway, that could be a massive game, by the way. That could be a huge game in determining who's going to be getting what for next season. I've gone for all of those results for Brentford, which will give them a total of 12 points in 7 games. That, plus the 46 they've already acquired, puts them on 58 points, which will take them above Chelsea and above Liverpool. Next, Everton. Talked about the draw against Brentford. Talked about the draw against Liverpool. West Ham, away, a win for Everton. Everton have done pretty good on the road this season. I feel like that is a win for Everton, even though, again, West Ham might be fighting for their lives down at the bottom of the table. Then they've got Man City. Then they've got Palace, which is actually almost carbon copy of Brentford's fixtures. Man City will be a loss. Palace will be a win. Again, pick and choose your battles there, Everton, and you might play it safe and get get what you want. Sunderland at home, again, will be a tough game, but at least it's not at the Stadium of Light. I feel like Everton can get a good result there and help their case towards top 5. And then Spurs away from home, final day of the season. Again, it's so dependent on where Spurs are at that point. Might help them, might raise them up, and might help them play better. Maybe the impact of Roberto De Zerbi might be better than what a lot of people are imagining. It could be massive in terms of both Spurs and Everton's season, that final day clash. But again, they, if my predictions are correct, finish the season with 12, or finish that run of games with 12 points. Add that to the 46. They're on 58. Goal difference could be crucial in this situation, in this scenario, because like I say, both Everton and Brentford are finishing on 58 points, which means they will go above Liverpool and Chelsea. And then it will be a battle between Brentford and Everton as to who has got the better goal difference, as to who finishes 5th and who finishes in 6th in the Europa League. And look, I didn't want to turn into an Arsenal fan with all the with that spreadsheet or anything, but I just thought it would be a nice indication. A lot of people are not seemingly considering Everton or Brentford for the top 5 spots, but I have to include them because I think their run of fixtures are favourable. And with the way that Liverpool and Chelsea have both been performing this across this season, but especially in recent weeks, I think the door is wide open for one of those two teams, at the very least, to potentially make a last gasp run at getting into the top 5. So my predictions are Arsenal and City, of course, they're through. We don't need to worry about that. I think Man United are through. I just had to put them on the spreadsheet because obviously a lot of people are saying that there still could be a potential that United miss out. I think barring a major catastrophe from Michael Carrick's side, they are safe. I think Aston Villa's early season form will be enough to see them into the top 5. I think they'll be playing Champions League football again for next season. And then that 5th spot is really open, is really up for grabs. I want to say Liverpool get it. I really do. But like I say, I don't trust their remaining 7 games. I don't trust Chelsea. Chelsea could have the easiest run of the entire lot, and I still wouldn't trust Chelsea. But Brentford and Everton, if they play their cards right, if they pick and choose their battles, they really could, one of them two, be in the Champions League for next season, which will be huge for either one of those two clubs. Look, those are the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys are thinking and feeling. So let me know in the comment section down below what you guys are thinking about both about the Premier League top 5 run. Let me know what you guys are thinking and feeling. Your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, will make for great and interesting reading, I'm sure. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way out if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video. And I will see and speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll speak to you all again very, very soon.